including
Welcome
award
back
shows
to another
and music
video,
industry
Jennifer.
gatherers. Jennifer
Hudson breaks
has worked
down
with
after
Diddy at
Common's
venues next
shocking
to his
confession,
empire.
and the
Diddy's
internet
independence
cannot
is a
stop
part of a
talking
bigger
about it,
trade-off,
because
as
what
Jaguar
started as a normal
Over the
sit-down
years,
interview
members of
between
the
two of the
business might
biggest
soon
names in
find
music
themselves
and
in the
entertainment
spotlight they did not
quickly spiraled
anticipate.
into one of the most
This has been
emotional,
framed by
jaw-dropping
Jaguar
and
Wright
heartbreaking
and Cat
revelations
Williams
the
as
industry has
evidence that the
seen in
system
years,
defends itself
as Common,
until it doesn't.
normally
How
known for
bad
his
was it?
calm,
That's what I
intellectual and poetic
No, I
reflections,
understand. How
suddenly
bad
shifted the
was it, do you
tone
think?
and confessed
What was
something
going
that
on?
not only stunned Jennifer, but also left fans gasping
going to tell you
worldwide,
right now
because according to him,
that me,
the woman everyone
as a
believed was
woman
the
who
strong,
has been in the
independent,
industry for
powerhouse
over 30
vocalist of a
years,
generation, was
I've been
actually
performing
trapped in
live
an
since I
invisible
was
cage
13.
built by the music industry's
My
most
first
powerful
handler was
gatekeepers,
McKinley
and the
Horton.
name at the center of it all was none other than Clive Davis, the legendary
come to
record
find out
executive who has been
25
behind
years
countless
later
careers,
that
yet
scar
has
that
also
was on
faced
his
whispers
face
of
with a
control,
very elaborate story he
manipulation,
gave me was
and
put there by a
puppeteering of
woman
artists for decades, and Common.
to
Revealed that in
live
private
through
conversations,
these things
Jennifer
and hear
Hudson admitted
your
she often
elders,
felt like her
elders in the
decisions were not
business,
her own,
people like
that she
Patti
was
LaBelle
pressured
say,
into
"Just
accepting
avoid
certain
him,
roles,
honey."
rejecting certain opportunities, and even silencing her
and
true
being
artistic
taught to be
instincts
a,
because she
"Just
feared
avoid
backlash
him, honey.
from the very
It's not
people who
good
had the
enough."
power to make or break her
Not
career.
when you
And
live
when
through
Common
these
put those
things,
details
you're
out in the
still
open during the live
suffering the
broadcast,
PTSD
Jennifer could
created
not
by
hold
all
back
of
her
this,
emotions
and
any
you're
longer,
talking to a
breaking
victim
down in
that's
tears
20
as she
years
tried to
younger than
balance
you,
gratitude
and
for the
she's telling
platform
you
that
the
launched her
exact
into
same thing
superstardom with the
happened to
pain of
you.
realizing that her authenticity
You wanna
may
know
have
why
been
there's
stolen
no
in the
vindication
process,
for me?
and fans
Because for
immediately
4
flooded
years,
social media with
I've been
reactions,
screaming,
some
not
siding
just
with Jennifer
Diddy,
and
but
praising
Diddy
her
and
courage
Jay-Z
to show
are
vulnerability,
monsters.
others attacking Common
And the
for exposing
victim-making
private
machine
matters,
kept going.
while
of
another faction
accountability
turned
by
their attention
authority
toward
cases.
Clive
For
Davis,
many onlookers,
digging up old
this
stories,
represents the appearance by
resharing past
Sean Diddy
interviews
Combs'
where other
alleged
stars
release
hinted
in spite of numerous
at similar
ongoing
experiences,
investigations.
and fueling the idea that Jennifer Hudson was never fully in control of her destiny, but instead molded to fit the vision of a corporate machine. And the more this spread, the more emotional Jennifer became, as behind-the-scenes sources claimed she told friends she felt betrayed, humiliated, and liberated all at once.
Whether or not it is
Betrayed
warranted,
because
if
the
he starts
confession came from a man she
major
loves and
labels
trusts.
entertainment
Humiliated because the world
Hudson's
now knew her
career,
hidden
which is
struggles,
intricately linked
but
to
liberated
executive.
because the
complete
truth finally had a
contrast is
voice
Jennifer
louder than whispers.
That night,
And in the hours following the revelation,
we went back to
Jennifer
his place.
reportedly locked herself away from cameras, refusing to give
watch
official
TV,
statements.
and I got
But her
tired, and I
tears
was-
told the story in a
Who
way
am I going
words
for?
never could. Tears that carried the weight
was
of
no
years of
hesitation there, there
silence,
was no nothing.
years of following orders, years
All I
of
know is the
smiling
next
for
morning I
cameras
see the
while secretly
sunlight coming
questioning
through
whether
the
she was
window,
living her own
and I
life
feel
or
something
someone
poking in my
else's
mouth.
design, and while tabloids jumped at the chance to spin narratives
Okay.
about
Exactly.
drama, betrayal, and broken trust. The deeper story that emerged was about a woman confronting the painful truth of her journey and a man torn between protecting the one he loves and setting her free with honesty. And as the conversation spread across platforms, with hashtags like #PrayForJennifer and #CommonConfession trending worldwide, millions of fans debated whether Common's shocking words were an act of cruelty or an act of love, whether Clive Davis's influence was mentorship or manipulation, and whether Jennifer Hudson could ever truly break free from the shadow of those who shaped her. And in that endless whirlwind of speculation, tears, and truth, one undeniable
So
fact
for those of you
remains.
who may be wondering
Jennifer
who she's
Hudson's
talking
breakdown
about,
was
what
not
I will
weakness.
say is
It
that
was the
Jaguar
raw and
and a
unfiltered
few
cry
other
of an artist
celebrity
finally
females
facing the
have
reality
this
that
person
even the
in
strongest
common.
voices can be
It's your
silenced
boy
when controlled by
Brown. Shout out
unseen
to Miss
hands.
Jaguar.
And
Well,
in
this
that
is Jaguar
moment,
Wright.
the world did
If you're
not
not
see a
familiar with
Grammy,
Jaguar,
Oscar,
Jaguar
or
is
Emmy
a
winner.
legendary
They
soul
saw a
singer
woman,
who was once a part of
vulnerable
the Roots,
and human,
sung backup
whose
for
tears
Jay-Z.
may have just
Not to
changed the way
mention
we
she
look at
even had a
fame,
very
power,
popular
and the
commercial
cost of
with
success
Coca-Cola.
forever.
Jaguar
And
has always been
the
very
story did
open
not stop
about
there,
the trauma
because
that
as
she
Jennifer
faced during her
Hudson's
career,
tears streamed down her
particularly
face,
involving
and the cameras
celebrities
captured
and
every
encounters.
quiver of her
Significant
voice,
corporate connections
people began
or
to
brand
realize that this was
She
more than
poses
just a
a threat to the
celebrity crying on
establishment
screen.
because of this.
This was the
Speaks from her
unraveling of an
experience,
image that had been
and has
carefully
noted Diddy's
crafted for
purported
years,
freedom were
a reminder that
terrifying.
behind
He
every
beat the
glamorous
charges
red
moment.
carpet
Thus,
appearance
this is
there
not true.
lies an
It is a
untold
trade,
struggle,
and
and
systemic
Common's
practices
shocking
in the
confession
business.
only
Her
deepened
remarks
when he
regard her
explained that
own
Jennifer
right
had
switched
privately
from
expressed her
performing
fear of
music to
becoming nothing
exposing
more
what
than an
she sees
industry
as
puppet,
corrupt.
a
Jaguar,
voice for
a
hire
gifted
rather than a
musician,
woman
and
with
like
dreams,
Jennifer Hudson,
creativity, and
who has made a
independence.
living by
And while the
upholding
revelation
neutrality
made
and
the
respect
audience
to one of
uncomfortable,
Cat's
it also
exposés
struck a
is
nerve
a
because so
nightmare
many
scenario
fans
for
could
some
see
of
the
his
pattern of
reputation for
powerful
being bold
figures
and
like Clive
unexpected.
Davis
Being
building
pulled into
careers,
business cannot
but
be
allegedly
completely
pulling
ignored
strings from
because
behind
of
the
merely
curtain.
amusement.
And
Cat is one
Jennifer's
of the few
breakdown
voices
became a
that is a
symbol of what
warning.
happens
Not- you
when
thought it
talent
was
and power
quiet.
backlash
You thought it was
when the
done?
purity of
He asked
artistry
his
is
viewers during a
overshadowed by
furious live stream.
corporate
no, this
agendas.
Is a prelude to
and
the
as she
storm.
cried,
They allow him
Common
to walk,
reached for
but
her
he is
hand,
not by himself.
whispering that
We
he
are
did not
observing
mean to
them,
hurt her, but
and
to
they are
finally let the
observing
world
him.
know the
Cat
truth.
mission was
And though his
rekindled by the
intentions
recent
might have been
controversy
rooted in
surrounding
love,
Diddy's
Jennifer
purported
whispered
release.
back through tears that she was not ready,
I'ma tell
that the
this,
confession felt like a
but
knife
you know
cutting
what
open
else
wounds she had buried for years, and the audience was frozen, torn between sympathy for Jennifer's raw pain and admiration for Common's brutal honesty. And outside the studio walls, the internet was on fire with think pieces, YouTube reactions, podcasts, and TikTok edits replaying Jennifer's trembling face in slow motion, with captions like "The truth finally comes out" and "Clive's puppet no more," while celebrities also began to weigh in, some defending Jennifer as a strong woman who fought her way to the top, others suggesting that Common was right to air the truth because silence only protects the powerful, and the conversation grew so loud that Clive Davis's name trended globally, reopening old controversies about how much control he exerted over stars like Whitney Houston, Alicia Keys, and Kelly Clarkson. And suddenly Jennifer Hudson's tears were not just her own. They represented decades of stories from artists who whispered about contracts, demands, and compromises that shaped their careers, and behind the scenes, insiders leaked that Jennifer had locked herself in her dressing room for hours after the taping, calling her sister and telling her that she felt exposed, betrayed, and strangely free all at the same time. Words that show the complex storm raging inside her, because she knew the world would now look at her differently, not as the unshakable diva who conquered Broadway, Hollywood, and the music industry, but as a woman who admitted through her tears that she too was human, vulnerable, and bound by forces larger than herself. And in the following days, when paparazzi chased her, hoping to capture another tearful moment, Jennifer refused to answer questions, keeping her head down behind oversized sunglasses, yet her silence spoke louder than any headline, because people knew she was processing the fallout of a truth that could not be taken back. And Common, meanwhile, faced both praise and backlash, praised by those who said he gave Jennifer a voice and attacked by those who accused him of humiliating her. And as the debate raged, one undeniable fact kept echoing: Jennifer Hudson's breakdown was not the end of her story, but the beginning of a new chapter where the world would finally demand answers about who really controls the voices we idolize, and whether Jennifer can rise again, not as a puppet, but as the powerful woman she was always meant to be. The end. Jennifer Hudson's breakdown after Common's shocking confession will forever stand as one of the most unforgettable moments in modern entertainment history, not because of the tears alone, but because those tears represented years of pain, silent struggles, and an entire career weighed down by the invisible strings of power. And the outro of this saga is not about weakness, but about transformation, because as Jennifer wiped her face and stood up from the chair, the room quieted in awe, watching a woman reclaim her strength in real time, whispering that maybe her journey was never meant to be perfect, but instead to serve as an example for every artist, every dreamer, and every fan who has ever felt trapped by someone else's expectations. And in that moment, she promised herself that the next chapter of her life would not be written by Clive Davis, not by the industry, not even by Common, but by Jennifer Hudson herself. And those words echoed louder than any confession, louder than any tear, because they signaled the rebirth of a legend. And as the cameras shut off and the credits rolled, millions around the world kept talking, crying, and debating. But deep down, everyone knew they had witnessed the rawest, most unfiltered truth the entertainment world had seen in years. A truth that broke Jennifer down, but will one day build her back up even stronger. Because sometimes you have to lose the image to find the soul. And Jennifer Hudson's tears were not the end of her legacy. They were the beginning of her freedom, her voice, her truth. And that truth will forever live beyond the lights, beyond the stage, beyond the industry. Because Jennifer Hudson finally showed the world who she really is. Not a puppet, not a product, but a woman whose power begins where the tears end. And even as the dust begins to settle, the echoes of Jennifer Hudson's tears still ripple across the industry, because fans, critics, and insiders alike keep revisiting that unforgettable confession, replaying it in their minds as though it were a movie scene that revealed the villain behind the curtain. Yet the reality is far more complicated. For Jennifer's journey is not only about pain, but also about power, not only about control, but also about courage, and as whispers grow louder about her next steps, people speculate whether she will write a tell-all memoir, deliver a groundbreaking interview of her own, or even release music that directly addresses the emotional change she endured. And whatever she chooses, it will undoubtedly carry the weight of truth, for when a star cries in public, those tears do not fade. They become history, reminders etched into the collective memory of fans who watched their idols stripped bare of pretense. And perhaps that is why this story will not die down anytime soon, because people are not only drawn to the scandal of Common's confession or the shadow of Clive Davis's influence, they are drawn to Jennifer herself, a woman with the courage to show the world that even the strongest voices can tremble, and in that trembling lies an honesty far more powerful than perfection. And so the outro of this saga is clear. Jennifer Hudson's breakdown was not a fall but a beginning, not a weakness but a weapon, because through her tears she revealed the cracks in an industry that thrives on silence, and now the silence has been broken forever, leaving fans waiting, watching and praying for what Jennifer will do next, knowing that whatever it is, it will be hers and hers alone. And still, as days turn into weeks, the image of Jennifer Hudson breaking down while Common revealed his shocking confession refuses to fade from the public's imagination, because it was more than just a celebrity story. It was a mirror reflecting how the brightest stars can be dimmed by forces beyond their control. And the outro to this saga continues to write itself in real time, as fans organize online campaigns urging Jennifer to take back her voice, while journalists dig deeper into Clive Davis's past, resurfacing old contracts and testimonies from other artists who once hinted that they too felt like pieces on a chessboard, controlled and moved at will. And in that broader conversation, Jennifer's tears have become a rallying cry, a symbol of authenticity in an age of manufactured perfection. And though she has not yet spoken publicly since the confession, her silence has become louder than any press conference, because people interpret it as a deliberate pause, a moment of gathering strength before she returns on her own terms. And in that anticipation lies her power, because now the narrative belongs to her, not to Clive, not to Common, not to the industry, but to Jennifer Hudson herself. And when she finally steps back into the spotlight, whether through a performance, an interview, or even a single carefully chosen post on social media, it will be one of the most watched and dissected moments in entertainment history, because the world now knows that behind the glamour, the trophies and the smile is a woman who has cried, endured and survived, and that survival makes her more than a star, it makes her a legend reborn. And this, more than anything, is why her breakdown will be remembered not as the end of Jennifer Hudson, but as the unforgettable beginning of Jennifer Hudson's truth.